Big Ron Shaw here, the Earl of Upsets, telling you to watch my friends, Monte and the Pharaoh, on Long Island's #1 wrestling podcast show, and soon to be the world's #1 wrestling podcast show. That is going to be a big upset.
Entertaining podcasts I listen to. I don't listen to many. That one, Francine, is a different point of view. It's a female point of view, but someone who's been through the hardcore wars.
Yes.
So what Francine has to say to me matters and is important. And there are two guys up in New York, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
I find them hugely entertaining. I find them fun to listen to. But those three are the only three podcasts really other than, the PW Insider stuff that I listen to at all.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Mike Monte's room as the studio is still under renovations. And Jimmy out of Jimmy's Saloon. Jimmy, how are you, buddy, on a Friday night?
Trying to get back to the Big Apple. That's how I am. Right now, I'm trying to get things worked out as far as there's some stuff going on up in New York that requires my attention. And I'm just trying to get back to the Big Apple right now.
Well, New York's going to welcome you back with open arms and open eyes and not open lips because we don't want New York to kiss you. But let's bring in the guest of the night on a Friday night. I think this may be his third appearance, Jimmy?
I think so, at least.
Hall of Famer Koko Beware. Koko, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you guys, man?
Yeah,
Long time no here.
Lovely.
Long time no here. You're looking good, man. You're looking young.
Oh man, no. Hey, I'm just living the dream.
It's the lighting, Mike.
It's all about the light. You're right.
The lighting.
Koko, I gotta tell you, man. Seriously, as a wrestling fan growing up here in New York, we knew you as the Birdman. You were fan favorite. People loved you, but
right.
Dude, I didn't know you were such a, without cursing, but I gotta curse. You were a fucking badass, dude. You're beating. Now the more and more I watch these things, you just beat the shit out of people left and right. What?
Well, it's just the thing of it is, you gotta put yourself out there and let the people know you, and for your size, that you just as bad, bad as Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. I mean, because that's the guys I had to go against that made me to understand the business, because it wouldn't look right for a little man beat a great big man like Hogan or Andre the Giant and stuff like that. I didn't want to never be that giant killer, because I wanted to go out there and have the sympathy from the people when the big giant is covering Koko and he's beating his brains out and everything, and Koko is crying to the front row people, the fans and stuff, and crying and moving around and stuff like that. That's what makes the wrestling business so successful. because
So,
that's just the way it is. And they have taken that away. They have taken that out of the wrestling business today.
so Coco, what do you think about when? Of course, we've recently lost, in my opinion, the most important wrestler that ever walked the face of the earth, Hulk Hogan. What do you think of when the famous line from Hulk Hogan about regarding putting Bret Hart over a smaller opponent like you speak of? Was Hogan in the wrong to say to Vince, that doesn't work for me, brother, because of believability? Does that still count for anything anymore, or
Well,
was that the beginning of what we have today with guys who wear the heavyweight strap who clearly are not the size of the wrestlers we were accustomed to growing up watching?
He's a professional, and if that's what if this is what Vince wanted for Hulk to do, to get beat by a smaller guy, okay, Hulk didn't have no problem with it because he had made his money, and that's not going to hurt him at all. But for the wrestling business, it could hurt us all because it's not good for a little man to go out there and beat a big man. That is the most stupid thing that the promoters can come up and do, and go out there and say, well, you little guy here, you go out here and beat this big guy here. It doesn't make any sense. I just hated it. I hate to see that happen because when I worked against Nikolai Volkov on Saturday Night Main Event, well, I surprised Nikolai Volkov. I beat him, but I went out there with a fast count while he was talking to the referee and gave him a schoolboy and 1, 2, 3, and out of the ring I go. That's how you beat a big man. Or you come behind him with a 2 or 4 or a baseball bat or something like that. That's how you beat a big man, and that's more logical of beating, and people can relate to that. But the people can if you beat somebody right out there in the middle of the ring, and he's a giant, and you beat him 1, 2, 3, the fans and everybody gonna say that's a bunch of baloney, bull. That's a bunch of baloney, and I still just don't buy that today. I hate to see it, and everybody need to know their role in the wrestling business. Everybody need to know their roles. A big man, a little man can never beat a big man. I don't care if you get him out here in the street. That's not going to happen. It's too much. It's too much horsepower.
Coco, let's hit the realism of wrestling. We lost the icon Hulk Hogan earlier last week. Obviously, everybody in the world knows some of the things that Hogan was caught saying. Social media at this point, after he passed away, a lot of people trying to cancel Hulk Hogan for his words. You being a black man in a wrestling industry, I mean, let's call it, like, again, we're just fans, but we're pretty
Being
well
a black
aware.
man for life. Yes, I know where you're going.
Right. So, and especially in pro wrestling, it was even, could I assume that it was even more difficult, Coco, to get over in the industry because of the limited exposure early on with these promoters?
Yes, we got all the black men got to learn this, got to know this. This is professional wrestling is a white man's sport. They created this. Yes, they let us play on their team as long as that would I am doing their job, whatever they want me to do. They'll let me play on the team. And then they got a chance, if I don't want to act right, then they got a chance to kick me off the team or set me on the bench. But it started out as a white man. This is white man sports, and you can, as there's nothing you can do about it. And I know it's not fair, but you can make you some money if you save it. If you save your money in this wrestling business, you can make money. You can you can live good, but you got to know how to put your money away.
So let me ask you this, Koko. Hulk Hogan's been accused of a lot of different things. You've had experience with him. I mean, you were part of this whole explosion for guys like you, Hogan. You were part of it. Was Hulk Hogan a racist?
You know what? I'm gonna say no. He was not in my eyesight, and I don't know what he said and anything like that. And Hulk Hogan is gone on to glory land, I hope. But the thing of it is, let me tell you, when Hulk Hogan and Beefcake came to Memphis, Tennessee, I took them to one of my friends. He had a barn set up with a wrestling ring inside of it in his backyard. Because one night in the Mid-South Coliseum, Terry, they came as Terry Boulder and Eddie Boulder, Beefcake. So Terry, I think the booker was Jerry Lawler. I'm not for sure, and it said Lawler told these guys that now Terry, I want you to go out there and shoot the guy in the rope, and pick him up and give him a bear hug, and drop him. Do this about 10 times. Beefcake, I want you to slam the guy about 10 times. Then y'all double pin these guys. When then Terry was a little bit upset. He was just saying, man, I want to do more than this. I just don't want to just, I feel like I cheated the people from watching my performance and stuff like that. And so I came to Terry. I said, Terry, my buddy's got a ring set up in his backyard. I said, let's go to this little town called Dyersburg, Tennessee. And I took Beefcake and Hogan there. And I started working out with him. And I was showing Hogan the big man stuff. This is all you need. Because Hogan was 300 pounds then. And Beefer, he was just the middle guy. He could do high spots and all that. But Hogan, I didn't want Terry to do high spots, big as he were. I said, Hogan, and I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to know how to clothesline the guy, know how to drop the leg on the guy. And I said, know how to roll around the ring on the guy, especially a guy like myself. The little midget is pounding on you and stuff like that. And all you doing is just registering these blows that he's giving, but not going off your feet. Don't take a bump. I said, somebody like Andre the Giant, Big John Studd or somebody, yes, take a bump for those guys. I said, but other than that, you continue to stay, you roll around the ring, and you just completely just do that, and then you know how to drop the leg on the guy, then you know how to clothesline the guy. And then you can add all your other stuff, like he started hooking up and stuff like that, where all that came later on. And then he finally got a little bit together, and then they left Memphis and went to Varngunia. And then when he went up to Varngunia, man, that's when he really took off. That's his whole name changed and stuff like that. But let me get back to this prejudice thing. He had never, and I'm sitting in the back of his green town car Lincoln. Him and Eddie was in the front seat, and I'm in the back car. I mean, in the back seat. He ain't never mentioned nothing about no racist marks to me. Never. Never. I mean, I don't know what anybody's gonna say once they get mad. How you gonna come out and say something? But Hogan never did, and I told Terry that. I said, why are they coming out with that? You saying you using the N word and all that stuff? I said, you never did that with me. Never. You treated me like I was one of your brothers. And then when 1986 came in, when I went to New York in 1986. Of course, there's Morocco, Ronnie Piper, all those big guys in there, Big John Studd, and everybody. And then I was sitting over in the corner. Hogan came through the dressing room, and when Hogan looked over in the corner, Hogan went right over there and picked me up. I'm talking about picked me up and shook me like I was his little baby. And he told Don Morocco, he told Andre and all of them and said, hey, y'all see this little MF here? He's the only one that helped me in Memphis and showed me the big man stuff. He said, man, welcome. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it here.
Koko, can I ask you this? I don't mean to cut you off on this wonderful story you're telling, but I guess my question to you is, why do you think people are hating on Hulk Hogan after even his death? And a tremendous amount of them are pro wrestling fans.
Because you know what? There's a lot of jealous people out there. I want the people to let it go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let it go. It's over. I'm talking about it is over. He's not coming back. Maybe we all can meet in heaven and stuff like that. But right now, let Hulk Hogan and his family let it rest.
Koko, difficult question. How much of it is possibly tied to, because my partner has brought this up, and I do think there is a percentage of it that's valid. How much of it do you think is it because of his political support of President Trump?
You know what? That don't have nothing to do with it. Trump, this is a equal country. So everybody's got the right to vote who they want to vote, who they want to vote for, and stuff like that. Don't get mad at Hulk Hogan because him and Donald Trump was a good friend. Vince McMahon and Donald Trump was great. I don't see him coming down on Vince. But I don't have no problem with Donald. I mean, he treated me okay. He didn't have a conversation with me in the dressing room when I met him. I shook hands with him at SummerSlam, and he came through the dressing room. And you know what? I loved it. I shook hands with, and he wasn't even the president at that time at all.
Sure.
But you can't get mad. You can't keep this grudge with Hogan now because that's past tense.
Koko, did Hogan? I'm sorry. Did Hogan ever seem selfish to you? As far as he's always getting accosted in his lifetime about being selfish, and he always thought about himself first and putting himself over. I feel like he made some real big stars in this business. Your take on that?
What you know? What I could say, he helped me. He had brought me in on some of his stores down there, signing autographs and for me making a little money of selling the Koko Beware pictures and stuff like that. I mean, he took care of me. I mean, what I'm saying, and he have helped a lot of the boys too. They just they don't want to say it or whatever. But I don't know what went on now in his private life at his home, how he talked to his wife and kids and stuff. I do not know that. I just know, hey, when I got in the car with Terry, he used to ride me around in the limo, and we were good. We were good friends. I mean, we were real good friends back in the day. But I just want the people to know, just please, when they done pass, there's nothing that we can do about it.
Mm.
Let it ride and forget about it. But Hogan was a great man for the wrestling business, and he
Co-
and he.
Go ahead, Coco. Go ahead.
I said he was a great man. He was a great man in the wrestling world and stuff like that. I mean, the people loved him. There was a lot of tears out there when he died. It took a damper on this country. Believe it or not.
Coco, there's a story out there saying you got in a locker room fight, a real shoot fight, which again, from what I understand, you are one tough MFer. You don't take no crap. And then you found yourself in trouble with the office and Hogan came to your rescue. If that's true, could you tell that story?
Okay, that was with Jim Troy. That's the one you talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we was overseas, and this is the living truth. And I'm not gonna tell you a lie about nothing, because I was there, and I'm gonna tell it the way it happened. We was over there, and we was in a little bar right down the hill from our hotel. Jim Troy and Shawn Michaels got into it. I was playing the piano over there and having a good time and singing some songs and stuff like that. And the manager came over to me and asked me, could I go over and break these your buddies up? Because they look like they're getting ready to turn my whole bar up and all that stuff. I don't want them fighting in here. So I went over there, and Jim Troy and Shawn Michaels was nose to nose, spit was flying everywhere and stuff like that. So I went over there and said, "Hey guys, come on, let's break this up." And I said, "We over here in this country, we don't want to get locked up in this country over here and stuff like that. We won't never get out." And Jim Troy turned around, looked at me, and he said, "I'm gonna take you the exact words that Jim Troy said." And he said, "And here's another MF uh, that I don't like," and said, "I wonder if he's got any guts to fight and stuff like that." And I'm just going, "Come on, Troy, come on, man." I said, let's don't do that over here. And Troy turned around, and he was spitting and going on, and he was going, "You know what? I can't stand you fucking wrestlers." He said, "Because I'm a hockey player. I'm a lot tougher than you fucking ass, phony ass wrestlers." And I'm still going like, "Troy, we over here, man. Cool it down." Well, if he don't have any fucking guts, let me see if you got any fucking guts. And then he haul off and slap me. And when he did that, and I was thinking about my father was telling us, "Hey, if you're wrong about something, you should get your butt whooped or whatever. But if you're right about something, you didn't do nothing, but you're right about something, you die and go to hell for it. That's because you believe." And you know what? And I turned around and told Jim Troy, I said, "Troy, I said, I'm not Jesus Christ. I don't have the strength to turn my other cheek, because I don't have no power like God." I said, "But you know what, Troy? If you want to fight, you got one." And I lit in on him. I lit in on him big time over there. And when I finally, he ran out the door, jumped in the cab, and I'm running behind the taxi cab. I'm running, trying to catch up with this car, knowing that I can't outrun the car, but I'm trying like hell. So I went and told Janetti. Janetti didn't like why Shawn Michaels didn't fight back. Why he didn't fight back. So that was another problem. So here he come in the inside the restaurant. Here come Troy. I'm meeting him in the lobby. I said, Troy, it's not over yet, but it's not. And I bust him again right there in the restaurant. They had a check-in. It was a check-in counter with a kitchen added on when you walk in the door. And I left him laying on top of the table. And I never seen him no more. The next day, Terry Garvin, we went to Paris. Terry Garvin said, everybody got dressed. Said, Koko, Vince want to talk to you. He's on the phone. And I said, okay. So I talked to Vince, and Vince was sitting there, Koko, what the hell is wrong with you? Trying to beat up my executive. I can't believe it. You beat the hell out of my executive. You beat the living shit out of my executive. And I said, well, Vince, can I say something? No, I would just want you to pack your bags and go home. And I said, Vince, can I say something? Please let me say my part. Then you can let me. Now, he's already had trouble with Hogan. Already, because Hogan told me, said, I can't, this guy here is about to drive me nuts over here. Because they was over there before we got there. And Hogan was just saying, man, this guy here, I wish I could just strangle him. So he came. So when I told Vince my story, well, I can't have my executive jumping on the wrestlers. I can't have the wrestlers jumping on my executive. He said, why don't I done send him home? So why don't you pack your bags and you go home? So I said, okay. I was just at home. I said, okay. So I went and talked to Big Brother. I said, Terry, Vince is sending me home because of the Jim Troy fight. And I'm going to tell you, this is the living truth right now. I don't care what anybody tell you today or tonight or whenever. Hulk Hogan stood up for me at that time. And he told me, he said, Koko, you go ahead and go home. But I guarantee you'll be back. He said, if you don't come back, I'm walking out of WWE. And that was pretty strong with Terry. Then I felt good, and in a few weeks, the office called me, told me, hey, when I can start back, and it was all over. But Vince held that against me. But after all that, Vince held that against me.
What became of that executive, if I can ask?
You talking about? I don't know. You know what? I haven't seen him since.
You never saw him again. Well,
I never saw him again at all.
Interesting.
I mean, I love to apologize to him. I mean, because I'm in with God, and I believe the Lord wanted me to, apologize to him or whatever we did. Either he was right, I was wrong, or whatever. It don't make two wrongs don't make a right, and two right don't make a wrong.
What do you think what do you think it is that's wrong with people nowadays where you tell that you just testified on Hogan's behalf. I've heard Dennis Rodman say Hogan is not a racist. So many men of color and prominence in this society have come to Hogan's aid. Why do you think that people just refuse to listen to those voices?
Because a lot of them, they're jealous. A lot of them is jealous as heck of Hogan. A lot of the big men was jealous. But then a lot of the big men, he helped made the big men a lot of money, but Vince and them went with Hogan. That's who they wanted. They wanted Hogan to be their champion. and all the big men had to step back. You know, because
Tell us about all the hours that Hulk Hogan put in. We had Tony Atlas on right after Hogan's passing, and he spoke of the fact that while the boys were out partying, Hogan's schedule was so demanding that he was working when they were out partying. Any memories of Hogan's work schedule,
well,
workload?
see, now I don't know anything about that, but I do know Terry was in that gym big time. I mean, he loved the gym, and like a lot of the boys, they love the gym too. Terry got his workout in and stuff like that, you know, and so that's all I can say about that. I mean, he did love the gym. He loved it big time, and you could tell you because Terry walked down. If he walked down the sidewalk, everybody's pulling over. Who is that big guy? Oh my God, who is that big guy? Because he was so big, you know. And like I said, I don't know if what happened in his private life at home. That's none of my business, and that's none of the world's business. What happened in their private home? You know, I don't want people to know what's going on in my private home, and I know you guys either. You know, but you know, we just have to just take it once it comes outside. Once it comes outside, then you can say, hey, you can start judging Terry or judging Koko who they are, or you guys. You know, that's when you make your judge. You can't make your judgment when Koko goes in his house and he's cussing his wife out or whatever, the kids out and all that stuff, or he's saying the N word or he's saying the other honky word and all that stuff. I mean, you know, that's his freedom. That's his right. But when he comes outside, you got to be a different person because if you are on TV, and I want to let all the wrestlers know, and they all should know this anyway. When you on TV, that camera does not stop because they don't see you on TV. That camera does not stop because when you come outside, you're on TV and everybody knows you, and you're gonna have to stay. You're gonna have to straighten up and fly right. You can't do what my other friends can do. You can't get out here and do what all these other guys can do with the girls, even with the lady wrestlers. You can't go out here and do the things that you see the crackhead girls do. You cannot do that because your name is on the line and you will get punished for it because it can make you or it can hurt you.
Coco, let me ask you this. You know, being as hot as you were back then, and we had other wrestlers at that time, JYD, Butch Reed, plenty other, Kamala. Why do you feel even today that black wrestlers don't get the respect that they deserve?
Well, because it goes back. This is a white man sports. They got it under control. Look at Bobby Lashley. I mean, he could walk down the sidewalk and everybody can stop and say, "Oh my God, look at this big guy." And you mean he can't be the world's champion? He can't keep the title belt? You know, they're not. It's never been a fair game, and it don't have to. It don't have nothing to do with. Well, like I said, it don't have nothing to do with if you're black or white at this point. But I just think they should make it equal. Where, hey, look at the black brothers tag teaming, black brothers here in the ring. They gotta Okay, only way they can beat somebody, they got to beat their own. Let's draw some money. That's the name of the game. Let's draw some money. Let's put the brothers in there with John Cena and Rose. Rose is no size. He's good. He's a good talent. Yes, I love to see him. Cody, I love to see him perform. He's outstanding. He's good. But there's other people out there can get the same, should have the same opportunity. I would just let them do that. Let them
Koko. Go ahead, Koko. No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, let the blacks just, it's just like in the hood. The blacks is already fighting black on black crime already in the hood. I don't know about anywhere else, but Memphis, Tennessee is blacks killing each other every day down there. Every time you turn the TV on, somebody done got killed.
Koko, do you think that if they pushed them effectively that way, that it wouldn't wind up getting canceled by the flaky people out there? Because I actually agree with you that they could do stuff like that. They could make them real. Make them real. Make them badass. That's what they are anyway, obviously. Let them be them.
Yep.
But if you do that, you're going to have people going, oh, this is a bad reflection of the culture. Get this off the air. I guarantee it, Koko.
Well, I mean, it's still, it's built on, I mean, the people out here in the world, they're so gullible, that they believe in the thing you put out there.
Unfortunately.
So, I mean, you can smarten the people up and tell them wrestling is fake and it's been told and all that stuff. And then they still buy tickets to come out. They know who's going to win and they still buy tickets to come out. Would you go to a place where you know who's going to win, what the outcome is going to be? Would you go and watch it?
No.
Okay then, but what I'm saying, but we have our fans out there is going to go to all of these places every time, and you know what? And it's a record-breaking crowd. I love the business. I still love wrestling, and I still wish I could perform, but I can't. But you know what? I want the young folks to go out there and take my spot. I don't want to get in the ring and do nothing because my days is over with. But I just
Koko,
go ahead.
I owe Ask a Bum couple of questions. I want to get this in there real quick. He asked, people tried to say Hogan was scared to get in a real fight. He doesn't believe it. Do you got any stories of Hogan actually getting in a real fight?
You know what? There was one time Mike Graham was a little upset with Hogan, and I was at a restaurant or something in Tampa. When Mike Graham, he's a short little guy. He's no taller than me, and but he had guts to fight Hogan, and he asked Terry to get up, and so Terry just, oh man, I ain't got time for I don't have time for you to do that, man. I'm not gonna get involved in that. So Terry got up and left. I mean, I don't think Terry never did go for badass or anything like that. I never did see him in a fight after, that was the only one time there could have been a fight. But you know what? I never saw him fight. I never saw him fight at all. And my fights that I had, I just, you know what? I didn't start them. And then a lot of times I didn't end the fights either. But Trump, I made up with the guys because you know what, they just made me realize that they was wrong. But I didn't hold no grudge because we got in the fight. I didn't hold no grudge on anything. time.
So why do you think that Hogan gets basically crushed by the internet over the fact that he wasn't a fighter? Just because he wasn't a fighter, let me just ask you honestly: you think Hogan could have handled himself against most men if there was a brawl?
Well, you know what, he had the horsepower.
Yeah, he definitely did. That's why, like, to me, he was just taking the high road. That does not make you a soft man. I kind of think that it kind of doesn't. That he
Right.
didn't, like, right away go to looking for fist. And you didn't either, from the stories you've told me. So don't get me wrong with that, because it sounds to me like you gave everybody a real chance before you had to, do what you had to do.
And you
So
know what? And the same way with you. I mean, here it is. You will give a man a chance. You're not going to back down from anybody, because you know what? My granddaddy always say this: you don't know how you look until you get your picture took.
yeah, yeah,
I
this is
mean,
true.
hey,
This is
he said,
true.
if you got out here and started a fight and know you started one,
Right.
well, you should get your butt kicked.
Right. You know what? And if Hogan does wipe the floor with Mike Graham, he can't win that because people will be like, "Oh, you picked on a guy half your size."
See what I'm saying? So he
Yeah.
was gonna lose either
Yeah.
way.
He was smart to walk out. That was that. You know what? And Mike, we've always heard that about Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea. The guy was very, very. I thought he was pretty even keeled for all the fame and all the attention and all the pressure and all the things he's carrying. I think he kind of carried himself pretty
Well,
good from what I've heard.
Jimmy, I mean, I've heard a lot of wrestlers say this, right? It's there's tough guys in the sport in the sport, but it's not a sport of tough guys, right? It's a sport of taking care of your brother and making
Yeah.
sure you don't injure
So you
them.
don't get hurt. Yeah.
Which, by the way, Coco, how did you not injure people with that pile driver move? Like, how did you
Yeah.
pull that off?
Well, because you know what, I was a pro at it, I worked it. I worked it that so many times over and over and over, and trained at home and stuff like that in my buddy's barn and stuff like that. And he told me, he showed me the move. He said, "Now this way here, if you really want to break a guy's neck, you just make one thing. You just pull your arm back and drop it right between your arm and the mat, and you can break his neck. I mean, I'm talking about you can break his neck."
Mm.
He said, "But if you don't want to break his neck, you hold him real tight. You lock it in. Everything is locked in real tight. When you go up for the bird, I call it the bird buster. When you go up for the bird buster, you count. You make sure his legs is together. They are together, and you count 1,001, 1,002. Just drop on your butt.
Mm.
Now, a little hair on the guy's head will come out if he got long hair. His hair hit the mat, and the people thinking, "Oh my God, he hurt his head." Look, because they saw the hair hit the mat, but they didn't know that his whole head was protected. But how many wrestlers you out there, you guys? Yeah, since I've been doing it, I haven't been doing it. How many wrestlers out there is doing that brain buster today?
Mm.
How many?
I don't ever see a Coco, so if I'm missing something, I mean, when you used to do that, I thought that was one of the most incredible moves, and I was always in shock how someone didn't get their neck broken. I was always in shock.
Because you know what, I was a pro at it, and I went over this and over this and practice over this and practice and made sure that because I didn't want to break the guy's neck. I didn't want to pop his neck. I didn't want to do anything like that at all. And I didn't do it so fast. See, if you do it real good, put this guy in that hold. If you put him in that hold real fast and take him straight up and stuff like that, yes, you can break his neck because there's no control of it. There's no control of it at all. So guys, just go back and look at the brain buster and see how long I'm counting when I got the guy up in the air. I got his feet together. His feet is not all spread it out like an eagle. His feet is together, and that's what keeps the balance. And I just completely just drop. And you know
Jimmy,
what?
you never see that move, Jimmy. You never see that move.
No, there's other. I don't even think variations is the right word, but there's nothing quite like what he used to do. No, it's gone. It's pretty but right. Sadly enough, though, that move today would be done in the first 30 seconds, and there would be a kick out, and they would continue.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't even do the move if somebody was going to kick out on my move. I wouldn't kick. I wouldn't even do it
Be
because
honest. Be
it would
honest,
kill me
Koko.
off.
You would beat their ass. You'd get pissed off and beat their ass for real. So
No,
Yeah.
no. I
no,
wouldn't. I wasn't like that. Have you guys ever saw the match between me and the Patriot?
no.
Okay,
Wait,
you got to go
is that the match where you just like totally beat the shit out of this guy? Because I have
yeah
seen that match.
in Memphis, Tennessee. Yes.
Yes, I've seen that. You go batshit on that guy. Yes, I do remember that. Yes.
Okay, now everybody thought that I was cruel. I really what this guy what did he do to me? He didn't do anything to me at all. And I'm telling you, I was main event against Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
And these guys, these jobbers that we call Jared, bless his heart, he paid these guys like $50 to come out there and take any kind of beating that they supposed to take. And this particular time, I said, man, I got to look real good today. Jared was telling me, he's promoted Jared, Jeff Jarrett father. He said, man, I got to look good. You got to look good today because you are on you the main event against Jerry Lawler. And I said, I want you to look real good. Go out there and just don't hurt them. Don't bust their eyes and nose or anything like that. Don't kick them. Don't break a rib or anything. Just go out there and look like you just taking this guy here. Just man, you just it's hardcore that he's gonna take the beating of his life, and that's the way it looked. And I told the young man that. I told him that. He said that's okay, Koko. Go ahead. You know that's fine. I said I'm here, man. At least I'm gonna make $50. And I sit there, and after and on that when that bell is when it started, because I was already looking pissed off when I went out there, and I just came through there and just took over on TV, and that's how you got over in Memphis. That's how you got over with the people, man. I'm talking about, and that's how people came out to see Jerry Lawler and myself because we fought. I mean, we fought like okay. We're gonna fight just like two guys that never fought before,
Hmm.
and made it look good.
Koko, people to this day still think that was real. So thank you for clearing that up. Let me ask you this: you tag team with the great Owen Hart, and then unfortunately we I don't think you were in the WWE at that time, but he passed away from that tragic accident. Can you tell us about your relationship with Owen Hart?
Yeah, I was at home when that happened, and I got the news at home, and I hated it. I wasn't there in Kansas City. I believe it was Kansas City, right?
It was, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. You know who put us together?
Ooh,
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
how'd that happen?
Well, what happened is Neidhart kept messing up, and Bobby told Vince that, "Hey, let's put Koko in there with Owen." And Bobby was just so man, he was so enthused and stuff like that, and excited. And And me and Owen went out there at the first time we ever was together. Bobby Heenan loved it. He loved it, especially when I made the comeback. When Owen tagged me and I came over and I pulled those tights all the way up to my chest and made the comeback, and Heenan loved it. And he said, "Oh my God, this is great." And that's how we, you know what? And that's how we got over. And we was on our way. We was on our way for Vince and them putting the belt on us. Because Bobby kind of mentioned, said, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but still it looks like they might put those belts on you guys, you know. And we was the first black and white tag team.
Mm.
And they don't address that at all too much.
Hmm.
No, when you think about it, you're
I
100%
wonder why.
right.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I would have no idea. I have no idea, you know.
Interesting.
What,
You
what,
know.
what was the biggest prank Owen ever played on you? From what we hear, he was a big prankster. What did he do to you?
Well, he never did. He never did do me, but him and the Nasty Boys, they had a lot of fun. I mean, he did a lot of big pranks on the Nasty Boys and stuff like that. I mean, and the Nasty Boys, you know, they wrote the book of the pranks and stuff like that. So they were just going back and forth with each other. But he never did do me. I mean, I never did go get into that, and I left it alone. And you know, we were strictly business when it came down to the wrestling business and stuff like that. We were just business, and we got along great. That's the thing about it. We got along great. And when I heard the news, that hurt me to my heart and everything. It still goes out to the family. I'm sorry that took place, and God bless you, his wife and his two babies there. That I hope they're doing fine and stuff like that. Because I hadn't heard from them and never. I saw them several times, but I'm just saying it now on the podcast that I really, really, really hope the babies and the mothers doing great.
You're a good man, Koko. Hard question for you. I'm sure you know, right? With all the stuff that we just went through with Hogan, Vince McMahon and the allegations of Vince McMahon. How did Vince McMahon treat you, and how do you feel about the allegations set against Vincent Kennedy McMahon?
Well, I mean, he didn't treat me. He did not treat me fair. It started out he treated me fair. That I thought, and then when we was running the 2 towns a night, then I realized that my name wasn't on the booking sheet. So I went in Madison Square Garden in his office that Monday night and said, Vince, I said, I'm not booked on either show. You got 2 towns running. Well, Koko, I gotta let some of you guys go, and I'm sorry, but I got to bring in some new blood and all that stuff. I said, okay. I said, well, Vince, you think it was right? You could have gave me a notice so I can get myself together and stuff like that, find me somewhere to go and stuff like that. And Vince looked at me and he said, Koko. And he hesitated when he said that. He said, Koko, I will fire my own mother if I had to. And walked away.
Mm.
And you know,
Do you respect that in some point, or do you just totally think it's wrong?
Well, I mean, what can I do? Tell me what can I do if your boss fire you? What can you do to your boss? You gonna jump on him? You gonna beat him up?
It was a business decision at the end of the day, and
Well, see that just made me. I know where you're coming from, but that was a business decision, right? And you know
Yeah.
what? And I took it as a business
Yeah.
decision because I didn't act a fool when he told me.
Right. Right.
And that's
Coco,
what he wanted.
what about all the years later when you wind up in the Hall of Fame? Do you get to have closure with Vince?
Just a little bit. I mean, just a little bit. And when I got accepted, of course, it took 20 some years to put me in.
Okay. Right.
But you know what? I didn't say a word. I went on and did it. I went on to accept you know, what they wanted me to put me into the Hall of Fame. I went on and accept that. Yes, you know, I'm gonna accept it. I'm not gonna argue with you. That's the thing about me. I'm gonna say my piece. I'm gonna say what I need to say, and then other than that, I'm gonna leave it alone.
Were you proud being put in the Hall of Fame? That must have made you happy. I would think it would, right?
You tell me what kid wouldn't be happy?
There you go.
What person wouldn't be happy to be into anybody's Hall of Fame nationwide?
Sure.
You know, I still love it. I cherish it all the time. In fact, you know, my ring, I still have my ring. I got to put up. You know, but the thing about it though, I still cherish that I'm in the Hall of Fame, and I'm proud, and I'm glad that I'm in the Hall of Fame. Like I said, it took them 20 years to put me in after they started it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm in.
You're in.
And you're in that class. Coco,
You're
I
in.
know you're on quick time. I got one question that we're gonna hit with the Pharaoh's final questions because I know you're on a schedule. If through your illustrious career, your Hall of Fame career, you've had so many brothers within the industry that you've gone close with. If you could share which death affected you the most.
Uh, the one that really, the one that really got to me, and it was Kamala. He was my big brother, and Hogan was my brother too. But Kamala was my big brother that I can go and talk to, and he wouldn't take a side what I say. He wouldn't just and say okay. I'm gonna take care of this, or he would be my backup and stuff like that. He would talk to me as a big brother, especially when something is not going right and something and stuff like that. And I met James, you know, about 3 or 4 years before he even got into the WWE F. And so that's the thing. I really was. I really I'll take my shirt.
Jimmy,
Mike. He might have played with his camera a little bit too much.
or maybe Sims cut him off because that's
We
Sims
got to
for
go
you.
to Checkers. Yeah, well. And the camera survived when he knocked it out. Did you see that earlier? When he
It
knocked
did
out the camera?
survive. It did survive. I want to give a shout out to ESO. We had that's why it bounced out. Coco, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
How would you like him to be remembered?
So let's stop the hateness. Come on, let's love. Let's bring this peaceful love and happiness.
We can't really say it better than that, Mike. All right. Thank you, Coco. Thanks for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
You got it. You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. And until next time, later.
You know what I wanted to talk to you about. I want to welcome our new sponsor, 500 Level. www, shouldn't be using that, 500level.com, where they sell all sports clothing and all this wonderful stuff. And support the Monte and the Pharaoh Show. Please use the code MP20, that's MP20, and get a luxurious 20% discount with 500 level sports gear. And right now they're offering a holiday special with 10%. So that's a whole 30% off the garments. Jimmy, you just being part of their sponsorship, ordered yourself a nice little T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm acknowledging the great tribal chief. Yo, by the way,
I'm really surprised you went that route, dude. I got to be honest with you.
oh, you know, it's funny. As I was looking through, and by the way, they have a lot of great stuff for you folks out there. When you get to that site, there's a lot of good. Dude, I was tortured. You said to me, pick a shirt, and I'm like.
And
Oh
by
my
the way,
God,
it's just not wrestling, dude. It's all
I
sports.
know.
Like, I was surprised you went wrestling. I was like, really, dude?
Well, you know, I mean, after all, they've been you know, kind enough to be our sponsor, and we're gonna have a partnership with them. Of course, I'm gonna do wrestling. It's a wrestling show. Sometimes it's a wrestling show, right, Mike?
Sometimes. And let's not reminder, MP20 for a luxurious 20% off of 500 level. And like I said, for the holiday, they're offering another 10%.
What do you think I was gonna pick? Like Aaron Judge or something? I don't really.
Dude,
do that.
I know. I was thinking to myself, is he going to go Yankees or Jets? And if he goes wrestling,
Yeah.
he's not going Rome. Like, I was shocked. I thought you would go Hulk Hogan, Savage, Ultimate Warrior, even.
No, because right now, the very thing that you and I talk about from week to week and we pine for is the return of the great tribal chief. Look, we really did enjoy that. Yeah, we really did love that reign.
By the way, I got to show you something here. Do you see this? I got this T-shirt.
Look at that. There you go.
It's really cheesily made, but I fucking
So
love
what?
it.
It's the message that counts.
By the way, I got to